Good afternoon. It is great to have you join us on another episode of Labour Forum. Labour Forum is dedicated to addressing the concerns, challenges, and interests of Nigerian workers. As someone who has spent decades fighting for workers' rights, it is essential that we have a platform where we could discuss issues that matters most to us. My name is Anthony Ogagmo. Welcome to the show. Is Labour Tidbits for the week.
The organised labour in Rivers State has threatened to embark on strategic union actions that could disrupt national economic activities if President Bola Ahmed Tinubu fails to reverse the emergency rule imposed on the state. In a joint statement signed by leaders of the Nigerian Labour Congress and the Trade Union Congress in Rivers State, the union decried what it called the adverse impact of an emergency rule, particularly on the payment of workers' salaries. The statement, dated March 24, 2025, was signed by Alex Amugo, chairperson of the NLC in Rivers State, Ikechukwu Onyefiri, chairperson of Rivers TUC, and Chukwu Emecheta, chairperson of the Joint Negotiation Council. According to the union, local government workers who have yet to receive their salaries are now grappling with severe economic hardship. They further stated that the emergency rule has placed the state at a significant disadvantage as prospective investors who had shown interest in the New Rivers vision have withdrawn their planned investment. Workers in the nation's electricity sector have elected intended buyers of a coal distribution company to several unresolved labor issues within the company and the urgent need for them to be addressed before any takeover to avoid unpleasant industrial actions. Under the aegis of National Union of Electricity Employers, the workers vowed to make any takeover impossible if the pending labor issues are not mutually and comprehensively resolved. In a statement, the Acting General Secretary of NUEE, Dominic Igwebike, said, "Our attention have been drawn to the new investor taking over Eco Electricity Distribution Company PLC from April 2025. It is pertinent to bring to the knowledge of the purported buyer of Eco Disco and the general public that there are several labor issues and the current owners and management must resolve and fully settle before transferring ownership. If these issues are not resolved and fully settled, the union will vehemently resist the takeover of the franchise by the new buyers." The Nigerian Social Insurance Trust Fund on Thursday launched NSITF Service Charter, stating that it's part of the commitment to exceeding customers' expectation. The Managing Director of NSITF, Oluwaseun Falaye, who conducted the launch, also disclosed that the fund was ready to collaborate with customers and other stakeholders to achieve shared goals. The NSITF Service Charter symbolizes promises to customers, a promise to deliver service that not only meets their needs but also exceeds their expectation.
Thank you for staying tuned. You are still listening to Labour Forum on Citizen 93.7 FM Abuja. You could join us on live streaming on Citizen FM 93.7. Just type in Labour Forum. You could also join us online on www.citizenfm.ng or follow us on any of our social media platforms. Facebook at Citizen FM Abuja, on Instagram at Citizen FM 937, or on X at Citizen 937. We also want this program to be interactive. You could call us on 0903 222 9797. I repeat, you could call us on 0903 222 9797. We look forward to getting your calls. Today, we have one of our vibrant general secretaries, one of those who are still keeping the torch of labor, the flame burning. He's no other than Comrade, General Secretary of Amalgamated Union of Civil Service Technical and Recreational Services and Public Operation Employees, Comrade Sikiru Wahid, among other training, holds a master's degree in Peace and Labor Studies. Comrade, you are welcome to the program.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Thank you very much for having me.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Yes, your union's name is Jaw Breaking. Before 1996, there was nothing like Amalgamated Union. I'm aware, as a veteran, that it was the coming together of what we used to call Civil Service Technical, Recreational Services, and NUPSI, National Union of Public Corporations.
Yes.
So could you tell us the coming together of this legacy union, how has it benefited the members?
Thank you very much, Comrade. Once again, I am Comrade Sikiru Wahid. I'm the General Secretary of Amalgamated Union of Public Corporations, Civil Service Technical and Recreational Services Employees, OPTA. Yes, we have a very long union. It's a very long name. It's an amalgam of 3 industrial unions that came together to form that one union. And just as you're saying, in 1996, the federal government felt that unions needed to be vibrant and they want to shrink the number of unions we have across the country. Based on that, we have 3 unions, the Public Civil Service Technical Union, which operate mainly within the civil service. We have what we call the Recreational Services Employees, which is RESU. And then the other one, the 3 of us now came together in 1996 at a major conference in Sokoto, where we adopted the name, so that the 3 unions, the names of the 3 unions can be reflected. And that is why we have this very long name. I will call Amalgamated Union of Public Operations, Civil Service Technical and Recreational Services Employees. And we, just as the question you asked, it has benefited us immensely, more than we had before, because we have a wider scope to operate. And our membership also have enlarged based on that amalgam. So we could see that where a particular union cannot go before, you can now go beyond it because you have a wider spread, a wider members, and a wider financial base. So it has actually helped us quite all right to organize our members and to make people reckon with us as one of the unions in the public sector that organize the workers in the public sector. Yes, thank you.
It's all right. One of the struggles I'm aware that your union fought, and I'm sure you won, was the problem in Anambra State, the water corporation issue.
Yes.
Could you tell us how you went about it and the lesson other trade unions could learn from the struggle?
Thank you very much. In Anambra State, we had an issue with the Anambra Water Corporation and Anambra State Environmental Protection Agency, ANSEPA. And the issue we had that time was that the government of Anambra State that time refused to pay the workers. And the pretense then, even when the governor, it was the turn of Governor Obi was the governor at that time, there is this insinuation that water is not working, water work is not working. And the politicians then deceived him to say that water board is not working. As a result of that, they just refused to pay the workers their salary. So we tried to meet the government to say, look, they are working. And that the fact is that government is not making adequate provision for the infrastructures there to work. And if you don't have chemicals to treat water, you don't have some other issues that will be used, how do you think the place can be functioning? But they kept deaf ear to all our advices, and it took a very long time that workers were staffed for nearly 3 years. So after much persuasions, much meetings, and all those things, and government could not do anything, we have to take the government to court. So took them to court. We were on that battle, and that one also took another 5 years. You know how court processes could be. So, but at the end of the day, the good thing is that the workers won. And when the workers won, the government was asked to pay the workers about 1.7 billion. So they felt that the money was too much and is going to create a problem in the state if that money is paid, that it will affect some other services that they were to deliver in the state. But we actually told them that, look, you have also starved these people. During the process, some workers died. Some cannot meet up with their family responsibilities. In fact, some people, some of their children have even left school. They are out of school, roaming the streets because there is no fund just to meet up with this. So we had to ask them to pay. In fact, when they refused to pay and they collided with their bank, Union Bank was their bank at that time. They felt that the bank will not pay us. So based on that, we had to picket the bank across the whole federation to say that if they don't pay us, then the bank cannot function. So, and we also liaise with our other union, which in the banking institution, the Numbife, and we had their cooperation. And so we call our members across the entire federation. So anywhere there is a union bank, especially at the headquarters, we choose the day and we picket that headquarters of in all the states across the federation. So, and I can tell you, by the time we started the picketing, just 1 hour to that picketing, because our intention is that we are going to remain in the banking section until they pay us. But when we are just 1 hour into the struggle, and they find out that within that 1 hour, the bank itself has lost millions because their customers could not even come, and people are afraid. And we have to also tell them that this bank is, they are not friendly. As a result of that, they had to quickly call us and said, look, we should stop. We should stop the picketing, and said, no, we are not stopping until there is an alert in our account. And I can tell you that was what happened. They had to pay the money before we call off the process. And so by way, we went back to pay the workers in Anambra State all the money that government is owing them at that time.
That's a very good one.
Yes.
And I think Opta needs to be congratulated for such a victory. And I think other unions will learn from it.
Yes, thank you.
For now, what are your plans for your members? And I want you to answer that with the experience of your members with this new minimum wage.
Yeah, thank you very much. We, as a union, our major interest is service to our people. And whatever we are doing has to be at the interest of the workers. Yes, we are seriously involved in the issue of negotiation for minimum wage. And as it is, even the president of Opta, our union, Comrade Benjamin Anthony, is the national chairman of the Joint National Public Service Negotiating Council. So, and they have worked with Nigeria Labour Congress and the Trade Union Congress to ensure that we come up with this minimum wage which we have today. And it is expected by the Minimum Wage Act 2024 that has been put in place by government that they will have commenced the payment of minimum wage. Minimum wage was signed into law. There was a consequential adjustment committee set up by the government to look at the adjustment in the salary It was done perfectly. I was a member of that committee. And then reports were submitted to the government through the head of service of the Federation, who also stood as a member of that committee, which we worked together. And so, expectedly, money is expected to be paid to workers. But it has, we are getting series of complaints from people that, from our members, that what they are seeing is not the minimum wage. It's like we have been deceived into it because government seems not to be paying what they were supposed to pay in line with the table that they brought out. So we have a table already for minimum wage, and expectedly, if you look at that table, whatever you see on that table should tally with the salary you are receiving. But what the case is not to be. One, there is a high taxation that the government has imposed on that salary. So it's like giving us something with the right hand, and you are taking it back with the left hand. So, but what we are seeing now is that there is a serious general complaint, and so we met at the level of the Joint Council, and a letter has been done now to the federal government to say that this the payment have been. Because look at some of the public social media for last week, you will see that there is a very wide publication about the position of the Joint Council, because it's not a union specific now. It is an issue that has to do with the Joint Council, so that government should pay. If not, we might be ready. They should not blame the unions for whatever lapses that might have happened within the labor circle. But we are trying to ensure that we maintain a very peaceful industrial atmosphere. But if all those things are not met, nobody will be able to guarantee that. So, but for us as OPTA, we have been trying as much as possible to ensure that we pacify our people and ensure that we maintain the industrial peace and harmony that should be enjoyed in any environment. We also call on the government to, at the same time, seize the opportunity of that industrial peace and ensure that the right thing is done for everybody to be together peacefully. Thank you.
Okay, comrade. Some years ago, under a past president, things were very difficult for your union. That even veterans, pensioners were not paid. What is the situation today?
Well, as at that time that you are mentioning, it's not that veterans were not paid, they were paid. OPTA has maintained a situation, a kind of policy that will ensure that our retirees are paid pension. So all pensioners in OPTA, I can tell you, is up to date. Where we are having an issue, a little issue, is the issue of gratuity, that not everybody have been paid up to date. And we put a situation on ground where we ensure that we defray it on a monthly basis. And so that is what we are having. But for pension, there is no worker in OPTA that has not been paid their pension up to date. So we keep track with it. I sign the salary board every month, and nobody is left out in the salary payment for today.
That is a very good one, because as trade unions, yes, we should not emulate government that defaults in the welfare of veterans.
We don't do that.
One time, this issue of the National Arts Theatre came up, where the government is trying to, I don't know, whether they want to hand over the organization to the private sector. But your union has been consistent that is a gold mine, and that if left with the workers, then the government will even achieve more than handing it over. So what is the situation for today?
Thank you very much for that question. I must tell you that it's a struggle that we are currently embarking on. Last week, we had a very serious protest in Lagos over that matter. And let me tell you, what happened was that the federal government felt that the National Theatre, what they were trying to do with it, they just want to sell it. They want to privatize it. And we have stood firm to say, no, it's a national monument, and you cannot privatize it. We had so many meetings with the Minister of Culture to say, no, you can't do that. So they now said that the place is dilapidating, and they needed to refurbish the place to the world standard, and they needed to put touches on some of those things there. Based on that, the federal government do not have money to do it. So what they did was to have what they call a banker committee, led by the former CBN governor, Godwin Emefiele. And the banker committee came up to say that they signed an agreement with the Minister of Culture, that time Alhaji Lai, and they said they were going to refurbish the place. After refurbishing the place, they will now ask the workers. Every worker there were asked to leave the premises. So workers are working under a very stringent situation because they sacrifice to go out and stay under the trees there. That's where they are working, and they have been staying there now since that time. And the bankers committee came in. They actually did a very nice job. If you know National Theatre before and you enter inside, you will see that the place is in its aesthetic state. It's a very beautiful monument. But after completing the job, before I even go into that, we requested that time that they should give us the agreement that was signed, so that we know the fate of the workers. We are not concerned about whatever they sign in terms of the contract. Our own concern is, will the workers be secured? Can their job be secured? And so they told us that yes, nothing will happen to them. Their job is going to be secured. So, but when they did not give us that document, as a union, we wrote to the Minister of Culture at that time, Lai Balogun, that under the federal government, the law of freedom of information, we use that to say that we have the right to have that document which they signed. Based on that, they now afforded us a copy stamped by the office of the minister, and they gave us a copy of that document, which we have till this moment in our office. So, and we read through the document, and we found out that yes, in the document, the workers are going to be intact, and that once the job is completed, everybody will go back to their offices. I must tell you that 3 years now, they have completed that work, and the workers are still under the canopy. They are still working under a precarious situation, and nothing's really happening. We met the management of National Theatre. I had a meeting with the madam, Mrs. Akirile, and told her, look, madam, it is time for the workers to go back to their offices. And even you that is standing here, you are sitting at under this very uncomfortable place at which you are working as a manager. Won't you move to your office? But I can see the fear in her, and that she say it is from federal government, it is only when they decide. I said, oh, you are the one to make a move. Tell them maybe they don't know that this job is completed. So, but as the situation keep going on, as we're engaging them, we now observe that there is maybe federal government or the ministry now of recent came and appointed what they call facility managers to manage that place. So when we saw that, we now look at it that our job is under threat. Because if you employ facility managers to come and manage the place, what are the workers going to do? What is going to be their function? They are already taking over their function. So we said, no, that cannot work. We said, our suggestion, which we made to the government, is that yes, we know that those who spend their money to work on that monument, they are going to recoup this money back. But we are the one even told them that, look, this thing is completed. You keep this place down perpetually. Is it not when it's working that you get your money? We now say, allow the workers to go back there. Lagos is a place where there are a lot of businesses. And I can assure you that by the time they start working, within the next 3 years, 4 years, we believe that these people will have been able to make much of the money they have spent on that monument. But we now see a kind of clandestine move to remove the workers from that place and then bring some other people to come and run the place. And that is why we said we will never accept that. Because the agreement we had, which was signed, although they did not have the agreement with us, but it was a signed agreement with the minister and the bankers committee. It was clearly stated that nothing will happen to the workers, and it's there. In spite of the fact that they try to sideline us so that they don't want us to understand what they are doing as at that time. That is the way we see it as a unionist. So now we are saying, bring the people back, let them go back to their offices, let them work, so that you can get money. Because we believe that if they are working, and if it is recouping this money they want, certain percentage of what they generate every day can be going to this bankers committee, and they can make their money out from there. And whatever they have, outcome of whatever is the order, they can use that one to pay salaries and do some other issues. But they are even still pay under the IPPIS. But they have closed a deaf ear to that, our suggestion. That is why last week we had a press conference in Lagos, and we said they should allow the people to go back to their offices and continue their work and work under a very good atmosphere. And for us as Opta, we have resolved, if they don't want to do that, and they still keep the people there, we will be forced to move everybody back to their offices. So we are just giving a little time. We have had a protest. We have sent a letter to them. We'll send the signal to the federal government that they should allow people to go back to their offices and do their work, but they are not doing anything. The only thing that is even they are doing that makes money from that place is the marquee that the former managing director put there, where artists can come and do some little things and go back. They generate small money from there. But if that place is functioning, I can tell you that there are a lot of money to be generated in that place. But I don't know why they are keeping it. So for us as unionists, we are going to ensure, we are working towards it to ensure that people go back to their offices, and then federal government will also be pleased to get their money from what for the bankers committee.
Yes, I want to confirm, with the situation that the workers being paid.
Yes, they are being paid their salary because, like I said, their salary is not coming directly. There is coming under the IPPIs.
Okay.
So since it's coming under the IPPIs, their salary keep coming every month. But there are other allowances that they should get as workers that nobody gets because they are like not working. They are just getting salary for not working.
Okay, there's this idea that a public sector, a commercially viable public sector organization, in most cases fail. They tell you of NITEL, tell you of Nigerian Airways. So what's the guarantee that your members could really manage this place to be profitable?
Thank you very much. When you talk of failure, I quite disagree with the words that people say that government have no business in doing business. Government have business in doing business. We have seen places, advanced countries and others. Why is it that there are countries who have an airline and they maintain it? Look at Ethiopia, for instance. What Ethiopia depends on as the economy mainly is this airline. Why is it working? Why is our own not working? There are countries who depends on some other thing and it's publicly managed, and then they work very, very effectively. It is the way we manage it, the way we run it, that is why it's not working. I can tell you, before the issue, as even the National Theatre was dilapidating, before they came and refurbished it, there has not been any issue of the place not working. They are making enough money for federal government. The records are there. You can see what they are generating every day. It's a place that is so lively. You see a lot of social activities, and the way the place is running, I don't think anybody can go there and run it at ground, because there are institutions. It's a strong institution that is on ground there. So I can assure you that if it is as it is, and they run it the way they were running it before, federal government will make their own money without anybody having anything, and they can never run it at ground because there are a lot of investment and social activities. They have other social partners that are working with them, not even just the workers, not Opta workers alone. We have Opta, we have Ratau that is working there, but they have other social partners that are working there that cannot allow such a place to run aground, because a lot of people have their daily meals from there. And so once you have it, you see that it is not purely run by government. There are issues where some individuals are involved, and then it also generates money for the government.
Good. You know, your union is a very big one.
Yes, we are.
Yes. Between 2019 and 2021, there used to be this disagreement, or is it a skirmish between you and CAC, Corporate Affairs Commission?
Yeah.
What is the situation today?
Yeah, the situation has not changed much. In CAC, the issue we have in CAC was that we have a management that is so recalcitrant. A management under the AG Abubakar at that time felt that he is an almighty registrar general. And everybody can attest to it that if RG Abubakar is walking on the street, people will be running up and down because you are a registrar general. Even the lawyers that are attached to that work with CAC that time, a lot of them have problems. The lawyers had to even come and protest there, not even up to now. The lawyers protested there against the way the man runs the organization. So we have written, the man is lawless, that he does not respect the laws and doesn't respect issues that have to do with civil servant and the procedures for discipline in the employment. And we have tried to tell him that, look, you cannot wake up one day and decide to say, this man should just go, or you terminate this man because you are RG. Say, no, there are procedures, there are rules that is guiding employment. If somebody erred, there is a way you give him query, you warn him, there are procedures. But he is somebody who felt that if he said this man should be terminated, outrightly the person should be terminated. As it is, we are even in the court, we are in court even with him over just a guy who is a messenger there. And what happened? He was carrying a file in a tray, and the file fell down. As it fell down on the tray, the guy now went and picked the file as it fell down and put it back on the tray. So the camera now caught him with the file, and they said that he was opening a file. And the guy said, look, it fell down. So the camera were seeing that, and they so monitored that you will not even see when the tray fell down, when the files fell down from the tray.
Exactly.
You only see him with the file in his hand. They now said that he was opening a file. By the way, if he's opening a file, what is he going to gain? He's a messenger. What is he going to gain from that?
I wonder.
And they just say he should be terminated. And we say, no. Don't say because this guy is one of the least worker in that organization, and then you can do anything with him. We met him, we said, no, we can't agree. And based on that very one, we went to court with him. The fact remains that he is also trying to say that we are junior worker, that doctors will not unionize senior officers. And we say, look, you are not the one to determine the jurisdictional scope of the union. We have the Federal Ministry of Labor who determines where we unionize and where we don't. So based on that, he took us to court and that we should not unionize a section of people, something that does not concern him. And they rule against him at the NIC. Exactly. It's not your business. Face your own work.
Exactly.
So we warned him. We also took him to court. We also won. And we told government, we wrote to government that, look, this man is not good as a person to manage this organization. I'm happy enough the government listened to us and they removed him. We celebrated it there. It was a very big celebration where we even had to kill cow and went there celebrate his exit. And that was what happened that time.
So what's the situation with the new management?
The situation with the new management, well, the new management is trying, but we have not really been able to get grip of the people because of the way the man is still tied to the fact that the case is in appeal court. And then we are looking at the processes of withdrawing and all that. So that has been the issue that we have not been able to fully. But our people on ground, about 90% of the workers of CAC filled Opta form, and they are our members. So the fact that they have not been able to deduct their union dues does not foreclose that they are not members of Opta. They are potential members of Opta, and then our forms are there, and it speaks for us.
That's a good one. The economy is biting.
Very well.
You are also in the housing sector.
Yes.
I'm aware of the percentage, National Housing Fund and all that. So what is your union doing? Or what influence are you exerting so that these promises of housing for workers and all that is realized?
Yeah, thank you very much. You see, the issue of housing is a very precarious situation. And it's unfortunate, I have to say that federal government did not have a social housing policy for Nigerians. Very unfortunate, because if we have a social policy housing for Nigerians, there would have been either a low-cost houses or a middle-cost houses where it will be available and affordable for a Nigerian worker to be able to get a house, even with a mortgage. But if you see houses that are built now by the Federal Housing Authority, which will have been a provision for social housing, and they tell you how much they sell a house, I doubt if there is any Nigerian worker who can afford it. It's not possible. And even with the mortgage are just not there. That is why the policy we had that time of the National Housing Fund is really not working. NSC spoke about it several times. The National Housing Fund has been transmitted to national housing fraud. Yes, that is the way we see it. It's not a national housing fund, it's a national housing fraud. Because the money that is contributed by workers is being taken and given to some individuals to go and build their own they go and build private estates, which run into millions. And by the time they tell you the cost of that house, a house, to get it in an estate, is so astronomical beyond the reach of an average worker. So for us in the union, in Opta, we have actually made our positions known to the government that government need to provide a social housing for Nigerians, for Nigerian workers and for Nigerians entirely. Yes, our people operate, for instance, we operate at the Federal Housing Authority, and then we have also bring our ideas to bear with the management, and the new management there are also trying, but they were also looking at fund, because they had to raise fund to meet up with some of their obligations. So for us as a union, we cannot impose or force them to give houses to government, to workers, but we have implored the government to try to go by policy of a national social housing fund, where houses will be made available to all Nigerian workers.
Okay. Generally, there used to be what is called the middle class.
Yeah.
But today, it seems
it's so eroded.
You are either rich or poor.
Yeah.
So apart from the housing problem, workers also have a lot of other problems in transportation, in education, and what have you.
Yeah.
What do you think? What do you think the government could do to alleviate, and bring back the middle class, because that is the engine of economic development?
Thank you very much. The economy we have in Nigeria, they have made it very difficult. It has completely eroded the middle class people. Completely in the sense that, before you could have people who are the middle class, who could be able to afford some other things and keep the economy flowing. They are not so rich, but you can't call them poor. But like you have just asked, sir, in Nigeria today, you are either rich or you are poor. And those that are rich are so stupendously rich at the expense of those that are very poor, which are just at the very lower ladder. The proletariat are seriously suffering because they find it difficult to meet up with some of their needs. And let me tell you, the whole burden is on the worker. It's on the Nigerian worker. Why is the burden on Nigerian worker? As Africans, as we are, if you are a single worker now, you have a lot of dependents. Let's talk of your immediate family. Maybe you have a wife and 4 children, averagely. And you have brothers, you have sisters. Probably you have mother, you have your father and others. By the time you take the salary, it can't even feed your immediate family, not to talk of these extended families. And you see there are extensions, there are pressures from family, there are pressures from friends and all that on the very meager salary you are getting. So the workers is being heated because he need to pay for his transportation to go to work. That is a problem. You need to pay for the high cost of housing because you don't have house. For you to rent a house, you know what it takes to rent a house here. Apart from that, you care for clothing, and above all, you will feed. Even if you don't have clothing, the important thing is that you have to feed. For you to even be fit to go the next day to go to the office. If you don't have food in your stomach, you will not be able to wake up the following day and go to work. So all these things are just pile up, and these are the pressures that are mainly on a worker. And all this pressure is what, if you look at it, is what is making the life expectancy to be low. Because by the time you are thinking of all these issues that are on you alone, for you to carry all this burden, definitely you cannot have that temerity to have a very long life. This thing is going to reduce the life expectancy of individuals. So we are appealing to government, like the present issue of CNG that the government is coming up with. It's not just it's the baby work of the NLC or the organized labor, let me put it like that, who have suggested to government to provide that CNG. Yes, the CNG buses are provided, but if we look at the number and look at the numbers of the population we have in Nigeria, you know that it's just an eye drop. It's a very small, very, very meager thing. But even with the CNG buses that are given, how many CNG stations do we have to feed them? You find out that if you live around this Lugbe axis, there's only one station there where they have a CNG. I've forgotten the name of that station. NIPCO, thank you, NIPCO. Yes, NIPCO is the only one. If you go to NIPCO and you will see the queue you have, you see the Dangote buses, they will queue up from that place to the market, to Gosa Market. Yes, to Gosa Market. Yes, I've experienced and you will see buses, you will see some other small cars. They are all there like that. Then tell me, Are people just going to fit? And these people stay in that place for about 2-3 days. When are they going to get to their work or to run their commercial activities? These are some of the issues. So governments should do more, not just providing those little buses. We should have a lot of stations that are for CNG, where people should be free to go and refill freely, and then could be able to aid the thing. So for us is to continue to appeal to government that because the burden on the workers are too much, and the salaries you are giving to them has been eroded by the tax you are taking from it. So if they make some amenities for workers to be a bit lower, it will be better. If you have lower accommodation now, your transport is a little bit lower, or is avoidably, or is a bit freer, and all those other amenities, if you enjoy them, your telephone, you look at the rate of phone you make, phone call you calls, look at the issue of NEPA. Now they call it NEPA, but it's not NEPA now, everybody know. But if you don't say NEPA, a lot of people will not know.
Yes.
The issue of light, see the tariff that has come on it. So all those things are things that has come strong to take away what you might even call the minimum wage. So there is no minimum wage. So whatever we are giving us now, the next thing is for us to negotiate a living wage, because the minimum wage cannot take us home because of all other ingredients that has come to consume it and take it away from us.
Yes, some commentators have said that all this is due to corruption.
Okay.
So what is your comment on the perceived corruption in the country?
Yeah, corruption, they say, is a cancer that has eaten very, very deep into the fabric of this nation. At every facet of life, every part, you see the issue of corruption. The corruption we are talking about is also with us, with everybody. It's not just government. Individuals, most of us are corrupt. We have corrupt minds. So it is not everything that sometimes we begin to blame on government and say maybe government is not doing this, government is not doing that. But we should check our individuals. But I like one advice that they said, change starts with you.
With me.
Yes, start with me. You have to change. You need to have a change mind for you to be able to say, yes, things will be done right. But you will see a situation where even you are in a bus, a public bus, sometimes you need to go to public bus sometimes to have the feeling of the people. And you hear the discussion. You see some people are not doing certain things right, and some other people will be supporting such type of person when you know that what he's doing is wrong. So if it is wrong, then why do you support the person? So the corruption is everywhere, and I think it is good that if government can have a very stringent law against corruption, it will help us, because I don't see us. We have not really demonstrated the kind of capacity for us to face corruption head on. Look at some countries, advanced countries. I learned in China, for instance, there are certain offenses you commit, that you have to kill yourself. And there are certain offenses you commit, the state will kill you. So if you are stealing money up to a particular level and you are exposed, you don't need to do anything, you just go and kill yourself. And if it's up to a certain level, the state will kill you. So we need to put some laws in place that we kind of talk to the consensus of the people to know that, look, this thing is wrong. If I do this, if I'm caught this. By the time you do one or two examples with some other people, it will not be. But people are saying it's democracy, this and that. And we have so much make bastard of the democracy that people felt that they have the right to come and do anything with impunity. And that one is also adding more to the issue of corruption.
Well, the time is fast spent, but I want you to make comment on this issue of what has been described as a time bomb. This unemployment, massive unemployment.
Yeah.
What is your view about how government could, provide jobs for our teeming youths?
Yeah.
Because the figure is getting...
The figure is high.
Yes. So what's your union position on the issue of massive creation of jobs?
Yes. Thank you very much. You see, people talk about Nigeria is sitting on a keg of gunpowder. We are just praying and hoping that it will not blow. Because if it blows, it will do no one any good. Yes, there is massive unemployment in this country. But I want to also take it from the fact that we have the Ministry of Labor, for instance, and there is a department there that are supposed to be able to take record of the unemployment situation in the country, to see who is employed, who is not employed, and have a register of all that is employed. Before this government came in, or even as they came in, they made us to know that there are going to be unemployment allowance for people. But are they doing it now? I've not seen anybody who gets the unemployment allowance. But that record can also not be gotten, except the Federal Ministry of Labor and Employment also take up the bull, led by the bull, to take the records of those that are employed and those that are unemployed, because everybody who is unemployed is supposed to go and register. You register so they can say for sure that yes, we have so and so number of people that are not that are not employed. We have so number of graduates in this field, in that field, in that field. That record, we don't even have it in Nigeria as of today, which is very unfortunate. So if we don't have that record, we only talk blindly, or a blank statement to say that the unemployment is massive. Yes, it's massive because for me, I know the person that is unemployed in my house. You know the one that is not employing is unemployed in your house, and there is no issue, nothing is being done, or nothing is seriously being done to ensure that job is being given to them. And another issue that is even causing this unemployment thing, is that most of us that are graduates, everybody felt that they must be employed within the government circle, and it is not all that right. We have seen what is happening in some other countries. There are people who should go entrepreneur. There are people who can do one or two things without even waiting to be employed by government. I have a brother, for instance, who finished from the University of Abuja here. While he was in school, he was doing this plumbing work.